Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now October 21st of 2021, and ever since the very end of The Mandalorian Season 2 and The Bad Batch, a lot of Star Wars fans out there are truly looking forward to what's to come for the Boba Fett series, Mandalorian Season 3, and let's not forget about the Kenobi TV series that's going to bring a return of actor Hayden Christensen as Anakin/Darth Vader. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there, at Mike01. We do post a couple of fun and entertaining things on there from time to time and interact with you guys further. So, we're now in a very interesting position for Star Wars because everything is beginning to come together. You know, we got the Boba Fett series coming out later this year. We have, of course, the major teaser in just a couple of weeks from now. That's also going to set things up for what's to come for future Star Wars TV shows on Disney Plus Day. So they're going to be really kind of diving more into the existing shows that are either already in post-production or are entering principal photography. So, as you all know, Bob Chapek, the Disney CEO, is working around the clock with Jon and Dave in order to really set things right for Star Wars fans, to really kind of turn things around, and to really give us Star Wars Legends in a way that we could have never really imagined. That is their real end game right here, is to really make Star Wars Legends a thing in reality, in live action form, not just in the Mandoverse, but also in other Star Wars TV shows that are set to be announced at Star Wars Celebration. We already talked a little bit about that yesterday and the day before, if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. Now, with that being said, of course, what's really intriguing has everything to do with what Jon Favreau is about to do with the sequel trilogy movies and what it means for the Star Wars lore at large. Now, we already know that Favreau is making a lot of major retcons to the Star Wars world. However, a lot of changes are coming our way for the events of the sequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy movies themselves and exactly what it means for the future. Now, with both Disney and Lucasfilm, of course, focused on their new Star Wars universe, like with projects for Star Wars Ahsoka and even The Mandalorian Season 3, for examples, both, of course, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are getting ready to promote the Boba Fett series, which drops later this year, in December specifically. Currently, Disney CEO Bob Chapek is making many major adjustments behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm in order to regulate the Star Wars franchise. However, it's noted that Jon and Dave are beginning to carefully create significant retcons to the Star Wars universe that will create a big impact on the sequel trilogy movies. It's described that right now, Jon and Dave are meeting up with various creators, writers, etc., in order to develop retcons of the sequel trilogy movies in the Star Wars universe that is going to make fans look back at those movies in a new way. Now, one major retcon that is currently in the works by Jon Favreau, that Jon Favreau is putting together, is considered his second option to retcon the fate of Ben Solo in the sequel trilogy. It's described that just recently Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are creating connections to the world between worlds and new explanations of this realm. Favreau is said to have made a proposal of how he could reset the fate of Ben Solo by having him enter into the world between worlds, being trapped down there for some time only to emerge years later, and that Favreau is trying his best to look for a more legitimate way that both Ben and Rey could have children. His first option was that Rey's pregnancy was initiated after the Life Force exchange when his spirit became a part of her. However, Favreau is now looking into the full-on plan of making it that Ben Solo never really died. This is the main reason why Ben Solo is not seen or mentioned as a Force ghost in the movies. Lucasfilm wanted to actually keep his fate ambiguous for the fandom, and now Favreau is said to be taking advantage of all of this. Not just that, however, another retcon is that Favreau is set to create side stories that takes place during the sequel trilogy era, that Luke Skywalker's wife Mara Jade was killed by Ben Solo at his Jedi training temple. Very similar to how Mara Jade was killed by Jacen Solo in Star Wars Legends when she was poisoned. Favreau is set to make it that somewhere out there in the galaxy during the events of the sequel trilogy that Luke Skywalker's son actually lived and survived, and that this is going to be explored in the Mandoverse before the events of the sequel trilogy, of course, for Mandalorian Season 4 and the planned young Luke Skywalker TV series currently dubbed simply as Star Wars Jedi Knight. Favreau is also taking advantage of existing lore to make the fate of Ben Solo make more sense given that underneath the surface of Exegol holds connections to the world between worlds in the canon material by Disney. Favreau is set to do incredible things in 22 to 24 that's really going to set everything in motion for the new universe that will be Legends essentially reimagined. Now, the thing about Favreau really kind of trying to initiate these plans of explaining the fate of Ben Solo in greater detail. I actually love the second option that he's currently going over right now, behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm, of essentially having Ben Solo survive during the events of Episode 9, falling into the pit. Of course, given that the world's between worlds, he got trapped down there, came back up, and survived, and he disappeared. Now, when he disappeared, a lot of fans were left wondering, well, where did he go exactly? What happened to Ben Solo? What was really going on? Favreau wants to create some kind of connection that has something to do with the worlds between worlds. And it may make no sense to some people out there that have not seen Star Wars Rebels, or what kind of powers the world between worlds really holds on a Force individual, a Force wielder. You can see what they're trying to do. Jon and Dave are trying to create a better future for at least one of the Skywalkers being Ben Solo. Now, the first option, the original option, we've talked about this before months ago, that Rey is set to have a child because Ben Solo's life force becomes a part of herself and his spirit becomes one with her. Hence why she's called a Skywalker at the end of the film, and why she calls herself a Skywalker. That's what Jon Favreau is also aiming to do. But now, Favreau is said to be leaning toward that second option that has to do with the worlds between worlds. And that, to me, I believe, is a very interesting aspect of the franchise. Now, when you look at everything related to what he's trying to do with Luke's son and Mara Jade's fate is actually very, very close in resemblance to Legends. In Legends, let's not forget, Mara Jade also died by the hands of, Ben Solo, or the Ben Solo variant, Jason Solo, in Star Wars Legends. Basically, Favreau wants to do the same exact thing, that Mara Jade was actually at Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple and was killed by Ben Solo during that time. And that this is going to kind of explain more as to why Luke Skywalker really went into that deep, depression, and how we find him on the island like that. And we're going to learn more about this next year into 2023 as well. So I think that what they're ultimately trying to do here is that they are trying everything in their power to truly kind of reimagine Star Wars Legends and to kind of mix it in with the Disney canon. Is this the best approach to go about doing things by changing the Star Wars lore? I don't know. I mean, I think that when you look at everything related to the sequel movies, I think that a lot of fans out there just want absolutely nothing to do with the sequel trilogy films, and they want no mention of them. And you know what? I can understand that, but I myself like the idea of Favreau and Filoni, the fact that they are tinkering with some plot points and changing aspects of the sequel trilogy and making major retcons like this to the sequel movies, and how that's going to be done in significant ways, both in live action form and of course in the forms of books, novels, and comics. So there are going to be a lot of things done, not just in the Mandoverse, but also future Star Wars TV shows that's going to go closer to the sequel trilogy era. So, like I said, guys, let me know what you think about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.